Good morning, everybody. This is Kelly Williams with The Kelly Williams Show and Bay Area Houston Magazine. And it's time for The Kelly Williams Show. It is time. That's right. Okay, guys. Are you traveling this summer? Do you know if you have the right car insurance or if you have enough car insurance? So many people do not. Well, today I am live in the studio with this guy right here, Braxton Skipper, my insurance expert. Hey, Braxton.
Hey, Kelly. How are you this morning?
He is with Skipper Insurance Advisors, and we're going to talk all about this as soon as we come back from this commercial break. And you can even ask questions live on the show,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we'll get them answered for you.
Feel free.
Go grab a coffee or mimosa right now. All right, and we're back. Woo! All right, so this morning we are talking about everything car insurance. Do you know if you have enough? Do you have the right insurance? Believe me, especially traveling over the summer, we're going to talk about rental cars and everything, but you need to make sure you have what you need because it is not a good feeling to have a huge bill of something when something happens.
Right.
And an adjuster or your car repair guy says, I'm sorry, this is not covered.
You don't want to wait until it hits the fan before you find out what you got.
Absolutely.
Know before you go.
Know before you go. I love that. So Braxton, tell us about liability limits, because really, what is basic liability insurance anyway?
So the minimum liability limit required in the state of Texas is $30,000 per person injured, up to $60,000 per accident, and up to $25,000 for property damage.
Okay.
That's the lowest liability limit that you can carry to be in compliance. You can't get any lower than that.
So that's mandatory.
Yeah, you have to have at least that to be in accordance with Texas state law. And like when you get pulled over by an officer, they're checking to see if you carry at least that.
Okay.
So even if you don't have a car, if you have a driver's license, you still have to have liability, like at least on like a non-owner's policy. But you absolutely need to know what your liability limits are, because your liability portion of your auto is what's going to cover your assets. Okay. So, what you have saved up in your bank accounts, your real estate, all that stuff can be, in a wreck, if you don't have the proper liability to take care of whoever you hurt or whatever you tore up. That's what the Jim Adlers of the world, right?
Yeah.
And after is
Wow.
is your assets if you don't have enough liability to cover
Yeah.
it. If you have enough, it'll settle out whatever it is and they'll go away. They're not going to mess with you. But if they see that you have the minimum liability and they see that you have a house and a 401k and cars in the driveway and all that good stuff, that's when you can run into some trouble. So definitely know your liability limits and make sure that they cover your assets.
Yeah.
And how you do that is by squaring up with your agent and doing a review and making sure you're properly covered in that regard.
Yeah. So how long does it take car insurance to go into effect? So if I don't have insurance today and I'm about to go travel in 2 weeks, can I call you and say, hey, I need to really go over and make sure I have the right insurance before I travel with my family on the road if something happens?
You bet. Yeah.
Does it go into effect immediately? Is it something that takes a minute?
If everything checks out with underwriting and everything, the quote's instantaneous. If you want to go with it, you can start it up with a card number or writing an account number. It's quick. Auto insurance is a quick one. The quotes do all the underwriting mostly for you, unless there's some, there's all kinds of situations out there, but most of the time it's same day. It can be done in the same day.
Okay. So this is really great news for people. So if you do not know if you have enough car insurance yet, or you're struggling with the company that you are using, or you think you're paying too much, They can call you today and get a quote
Yes, ma'am.
at no charge.
Mm-hmm. Heck, y'all did it.
We did it.
So
exactly.
it's a simple deal.
And
Yeah.
look, his phone number is right here on the scrolling thing, scrolling across the screen, right?
Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
It's a cell.
Yep. Yes,
So,
ma'am.
very, very important stuff. So if you're a underinsured, okay, if you have uninsured or uninsured motorist coverage endorsement, what is that?
So know if you have uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. Okay, what that is, it's an optional endorsement. I recommend everyone to carry it. Okay. What it does is it covers you for drivers that don't have any insurance on the road, which we live in the greater Houston area. I would venture to say probably roughly half the drivers you see on the road don't have insurance for whatever reason. Maybe it lapsed or they just never had it. It just is. It is what it is. It's a very cheap endorsement to carry. It's not worth not having. Okay. And also the underinsured portion. What the uninsured motorist covers, again, is for people that don't have insurance. It'll take care of your vehicle without you having to claim it on your collision for the higher deductible. Uninsured motorist, underinsured motorist is a $250 deductible. It's low, and it doesn't necessarily go against your rate the same way that a collision claim would. So if you get in a wreck with somebody and it's the other person's fault and they don't carry insurance or they don't carry enough insurance to take care of your vehicle, you have the uninsured motorist option on your policy to fall back on, and it can really take care of you claim-wise and deductible-wise. It can save you some money, and it'll also not go against your rate the same way that a collision claim would. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I mean, that's something that I don't even think people think about.
No, they don't.
Until somebody hits you and you realize they don't even have insurance.
Right.
And then it's all on you.
It happens all the time. And the big one is hit and runs.
Yeah.
Okay. So if your car gets hit in the parking lot and you come out and there's a huge dent in the side or whatever it is, you don't know who hit you. You know, and so the only way to make a claim if you don't have uninsured motorist coverage is on your own collision. It's treated just like like you did it. Yeah, right. Yeah. And so if you just had the uninsured, underinsured motorist endorsement, it can take care of that. It can alleviate that problem, take care of the hit and run accident. It's only subject to a $250 deductible. That's pretty much standard. No matter what carrier you're with, it's $250 deductible for that. Okay. Most of the time. Yeah. But anyway, it could save you, it could save you a lot of headache and a lot of money carrying that. And it's not required. So like I said earlier on the liability part, the only thing you're required to carry is the liability by the state of Texas. Okay. You're not required to carry uninsured and underinsured. So a lot of times people just want the cheapest rate and the cheapest quote. They're like, hey, just give me the basic of the basic, when they don't realize it's like, maybe a couple of dollars more to carry that endorsement.
Wow. So, I mean, that's interesting because you just automatically you're assuming that to carry something else extra besides liability, it's going to cost you a lot of money, and it may not even. Yeah.
And also the same thing for your liability limits too. That's what I wanted to touch on as well. The state minimum liability, to go one over that, 50, 150, and even one over that, 100, 300, 100, is again not very high to change. So you're not necessarily saving all this money by having state minimums. Go ahead and get quotes with the higher limits, especially if you have property and especially if you have money in savings accounts and all that good stuff. Because those things are what they're going to come after if you don't have the liability to cover whatever the wreck was.
Absolutely. And that's scary. And insurance almost, it's not really for you. If you're a good driver, it's not necessarily for you. It's because you can't control what other people do on the road. Right. Or, if the weather's bad and you have a spin out. I mean, things just happen. It's just one of those things you've got to have because you can't get it when it happens.
And I don't know about you guys, but I spend most of my day in a car. In my truck. So the odds of something happening, even though, I'd like to say are pretty low, it is what it is. I'm 1 second away from a wreck at any given time. Exactly. You never know what can happen.
Absolutely.
And just think, if you hit a car that has a full family in it, every one of those people will go to the hospital. Every one of those people are are going to be claiming on your insurance, not
Yeah.
just one person.
Yeah.
Your liability is what they're going to chip at first.
Yeah.
And if you don't have enough liability, they're coming after you and what
Yeah.
you got.
Wow.
So, that's what I always tell my clients in our reviews and everything is keep that in mind. Liability is the cheapest portion of your auto policy, money wise, in terms of how much premium goes towards the liability part. It's the cheapest portion. It's what's going to protect you the most. If you have a wreck and you don't have full coverage on your car and you lose your car, that would suck for a while, but you could recover from that.
Yeah.
What people can't recover from is if you don't have enough liability and God forbid you rear into a car full of people
Yeah.
and they come after everything and they drain your accounts and all that stuff. They take away your houses and all that.
Absolutely.
Things you worked your whole life to protect. So
Yeah.
those are things to keep in mind on the auto and even on the homeowners. Make sure you got adequate liability on your homeowners too. So
Absolutely. And guys, if you're just tuning in, I am live with Braxton Skipper of the Skipper Insurance Advisors, and he is my insurance expert. And you can actually ask a question right here live on the show, and he'll answer it for you. If you have a question about car insurance, that's what we're talking about today. But later on, if you have a question about home insurance, we could probably answer that on the show a little bit for you. But his phone number is right here, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you have a question or want to get a quote from him, there you go. We're putting it right there for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Easy to get in touch with, and he will answer the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With heavy emphasis on property damage portion, make sure it's enough to cover your vehicle. Know the limits of it. What
Sure.
does that exactly does that mean?
So that ties back into the uninsured, underinsured motorist endorsement. The property damage portion of that needs to be able to cover your vehicle.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay.
So, for instance, on the uninsured motorist limit 30, 60, 25, if your car is valued more than 25,000,
yeah.
which now with the way car prices are,
Yeah.
odds are that's not enough.
No.
You need to up it.
Okay.
To 50, 150 or 100, 300, 100.
Okay.
Just because the property damage portion is what's going to cover your car. So if your car gets damaged by an uninsured motorist or somebody that doesn't have adequate coverage,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you have enough on that endorsement to take care of your car.
Okay. Because if your car's worth $35,000, $40,000 and you only have the $25,000 policy
Right.
for
property damage.
You're going to be out of pocket
Yep.
for the rest of that, or you're going to be trading a car in or
Yep.
figuring out how to get a new car
That's right.
on,
And it's
out of your pocket.
and it's so cheap to raise it. It's not a problem worth having. I promise. I mean, get the quotes and find out for yourself. I promise you.
Absolutely. Good morning, Benjamin. No insurance questions, but impatiently waiting for someone to grab that guitar and play. I like it. We might do that on the show at some point. I love it. Love you too. Thanks for watching. Okay, so what is comprehensive coverage?
Sure.
You
So-
hear that, but what is it?
So whenever you go buy a car and obviously the lien holder is going to want you to carry what we call full coverage, right? And
Yeah.
what full coverage means that you have comprehensive and collision coverage.
Okay.
What the comprehensive portion is forces of nature. So hail damage to your car,
Oh, wow.
flooding. So if you drive into flooded waters, tree fall in your car, you hit a deer.
Yeah.
And
See,
if
I
your
mean,
car's-
these are.
and if your car's stolen, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's
these
it.
are all things that happen literally in different parts of the country.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is what's great. These are very important questions to be asking yourself, no matter where you live.
Yeah, I mean, auto insurance. Everybody has to have it.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, really, it's not a choice. If you even have a driver's license, they require you to carry at least the liability, like
Yeah.
I was saying earlier. So these are all. This is all. I mean, you can apply this across the country. I mean, everybody needs this. All auto insurance works the same way, no matter what carrier you're with. And what we're doing today is just kind of navigating through the different coverages your auto policy has,
Yeah.
different options that you have. And then, of course, the collision portion of the full coverage is an accident with another car, or you hit an object. You know, it's pretty straightforward. So
Yeah.
comprehensive is forces of nature. You hit the deer, theft, flooding, hail damage, those kind of things. Collision is when you hit another car or a tree or, you know, whatever it may be, God forbid, right? So if you have a choice to hit a tree or a deer, hit the deer because comprehensive is treated a little bit different when it comes time for them to, when it comes time for renewal and they look at your accidents.
Yeah.
Comprehensive is treated a little different. It's not going to affect your rate the same as collision.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, we always kind of make the joke, if you can hit the deer, hit the tree, hit the deer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, and how many, well, and you can have deer meat that night.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
How many times can you get into an accident before your rate starts going up?
It depends. It depends on what
I
carrier
always wondered
you're
about
with.
that.
It doesn't. It's all about the amounts in which these carriers are paying out for your wrecks. Right now, the way cars are costing, with inflation and everything, it doesn't take much.
No.
And inevitably, you're going to probably see a rate increase by renewal. And unfortunately, with inflation and everything that's going on, you're going to have a rate increase anyway, just not as bad as if you had an accident, right? But
yeah,
I mean, it's an unfortunate thing industry wide. That's why it's so important to call around and get quotes to see if you still have it. Getting quotes is good. Like I say, I'm an independent agent, so I have carriers that I quote through, and it's a win-win for you because if you call and get a quote from me, and it's higher than what you have now, well, then you know you have a good deal where you are.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that.
Exactly.
You know? But it's good to shop around, if not every 6 months. I know that's a little extreme, but you know, once a year, once every couple of years.
Yeah.
Just to see what, you know, where your carrier rates, because a lot of these companies are trying to cut down on their risk. Okay. Especially during hurricane season, rates kind of go up a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you renew around hurricane season, you know, it might be a little bit higher than if you didn't.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
It's good to call and shop around, and that's what I'm here for. That's what I do. So auto insurance is the most shopped, and it's the most competitive, probably I'd say, portion of our industry, because there's 6-month policies, you know, for personal auto, there's 6-month policies. So the auto is just more on people's minds
than
everything else, you know.
Do y'all cover, so somebody has a motorcycle?
Oh yeah.
I mean, y'all cover, they can get insurance through all that through y'all.
Oh yes,
which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, love that. Love that. I've always wanted to know this. At what age does, if anybody that's going to be watching the show has any young driver, and you always kind of wonder when that policy stops being so expensive, I guess, or when it starts changing just a little bit. Is there an age change from a 16, 17-year-old driver to a 23-year-old driver? Does not matter? Yeah,
there is. There is, especially for boys.
Okay.
Boys. Girls are a little bit cheaper than boys. But yes.
Are we better drivers? My husband would say that.
Yeah. It's a bit of a paradox there, but it is what it is, you know. They say that we're a little bit more risky. We make more risky decisions.
Oh yeah, y'all are the ones that speed down the road in those you know, racing movies and things like that.
At least we're not hitting curbs, you know. So
or putting on your makeup while you're driving.
All that.
Y'all don't do that.
No. So you know, but like I say, it is what it is on that. But yeah, that's a good question. Usually, I think my rate went down at 25. I think.
Okay, 25.
And then also, if you have kids, your rate goes down. Even girls and boys. If you have a kid and you're from 16 to 25, tell your agent, and then you know, if that carrier has a question on your application, that he can now press yes. You have a kid or you are a parent now. Yeah. It can help you rate a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, if you're in school and you're a good student, like if you're in high school and you're a good student, tell your agent, fill out whatever paperwork that he has for you.
Yeah.
For that, and if you're in college, if you're on the dean's list or anything like that, or you know whatever the good grade thing you got going on there is, send it to your agent and you'll see what he can do for you, because it helps too. Anything helps. You know, with high school and college kids. These carriers, most of the time, they understand that the parents are probably paying for it, and it's high.
Exactly.
So they try to give you, some options to, to get it down. So if you're a good student, and you think you can qualify for that, tell your agent, and whatever carrier he has you with, he'll get the paperwork to shoot to you to fill out. Or maybe you don't even have to fill anything out. Maybe you just get a box to check, like the parent thing. So
I mean, that's a big deal, because when you're a parent and you've got high school to college students, you're going through a lot anyway.
Yeah.
So your insurance agent's going to give you a break.
Yeah.
Look for breaks anywhere you can get them. And they're going to give you some breaks.
Help them help you.
That's right.
Help them help you.
Absolutely. So, they want to help.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're just tuning in, I am live in the studio with Braxton Skipper, my insurance expert from Skipper Insurance Advisors. And this is his cell that's scrolling across the screen right now. You can call him anytime of the day or night. I'm just joking about that. But he will answer the phone because he wants to help you, and they will give you a quote at no charge.
Call me, text me, whatever's best for you.
Yeah, it's good to get a new quote and make sure you have the coverage you need, that you're not overpaying, and that you may have some benefits like we were just talking about that you may not have checked already. Okay. Towing and roadside assistance. This is a very big deal.
Yeah.
What do we need to check on that?
Well,
to see what we have.
Good question. First off, look at your policy or call your agent, verify if you have it or not. And if you don't, add it. And it's not very high. I mean, it's like I said, it's similar to the liability that we talked about earlier. It's very cheap to add.
Okay.
And it's what it does is most of the time it'll take care of, if your car breaks down and you need to have it towed, or flat tires, lock your keys in your car, those kind of things. Every carrier may have a little bit different guidelines of what their towing is. Progressive and Farm Bureau and Geico, they might have, little nuances that others don't have. But the bottom line is make sure you have it with whatever carrier you're with, and find out what all their towing and roadside entails. But a lot of the times, if you do, it'll just be a part of your claim. If you have a wreck and your car's undrivable, the towing and roadside will be what takes care of the towing part. Because if you don't, then they'll just you can
get ripped off.
Yeah, so just make sure you have it. If not for the emergencies like that, at least in case you do have a claim and your car's undrivable, that will take care of getting your car off the road and put somewhere to get worked on to the nearest body shop.
Really important. Check and see if you have.
And it's super easy to
roadside coverage.
It's very easy. It's a phone call away. If you already have an active policy, if you don't have it already, just call your agent. Tell them to give you a quote of what it'd be to add it, and you'll probably, based on what he says, you'll probably just be like, do it.
Okay, great. Okay, so if you are one of the millions of people that is going to be traveling this summer, school is almost out. People are getting ready for family vacations, even if you're just going up the road a couple hours away or across the country and you're taking a road trip. If you're renting a car anywhere, you need to find out what rental coverage you have. This is very, very important.
Yes.
I don't think enough people check on their rental coverage.
No.
Honestly.
No, and with inflation too, it costs more to rent one. But most of the time your rental car is going to be claim related. Okay. So it's not going to be a recreational rental car unless your carrier provides that. But most of the time the rental car is claim related. It's got to be tied to a claim. So while your car is being worked on from the claim that happened, your insurance company is going to hook you up with a rental car, and you need to find out what your per day limit is. A lot of the time it's 30 a day, 40 a day, 50 a day. But when that rental coverage runs out, then it's on you. So you want to make sure that you know the duration of how long you have rental for, and how long, whatever body shop you take your car to, how long those repairs are going to take.
Absolutely.
So you don't run out of your rental. And these are things, again, that you don't think about until you're in the situation. But, I recommend to have the higher, the higher rental coverage per day, like at least 40 or 50 a day.
Absolutely.
And make sure it goes for a week, at least a week.
Yeah, at least a week.
In my situation, my rental car, it timed out right. It timed out perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
A few years ago.
Yeah.
After my wreck. So
no, and it's what's amazing is that if you are unsure of how long your car is going to be in the service, needing to get fixed, you've got to do the checkup work, because your rental car thing may start charging you.
Yeah. And what'll happen is, once it starts running out, they'll likely tell your adjuster, and your adjuster will find it, ask you, hey, how long is the body shop that's working on your car got? Because we're kind of running low on your rental car.
Yeah.
So, and it all depends on what carrier you're with too, man. You want to be with a carrier that's good and that'll take care of you. You want to be with somebody that's A-rated and that's, going to work with you on the claim, and it's not a call center or something like that.
Absolutely.
You want to be with somebody that you can call and find out what's going on and be a liaison and everything for you. So
yeah,
you definitely want a good agent. You want a good carrier. So
yeah, you do. You want a good agent and a good carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. So if you're traveling and you're just needing to rent a car, how does that insurance work? Is that still covered under your insurance if you get in a wreck in a rental car?
That's a great question.
From a rental place?
So that ties back into the liability. So yes, you don't necessarily have to buy the rental car coverage. If you have liability on your auto, then you need to make sure that the property damage portion of your liability would cover that car, like we talked about earlier.
Okay, so you need to have enough on whatever kind of car you're renting.
Yeah, so you just want to make sure you have high liability limits.
Okay.
Or, higher. You don't want this. I don't recommend you to carry the state minimums.
Okay.
$25,000 is the property damage portion of that. And if you're where you're going to end up renting a car and recreationally and stuff, then you probably need higher liability limits anyway.
Sure.
But yeah, that's a great question. So you don't necessarily have to purchase the rental car coverage as long as you have an active auto policy with high enough liability limits to take care of that rental car.
Yeah.
You would just show the rental car company your policy, and that would suffice.
And to me, that makes more sense.
Right.
To that you have your own, because I don't think that's very cheap when they say, do you want our insurance?
Right.
And sometimes it's not nearly enough if something would happen.
Right.
It's just their kind of, policy that it's enough will be taken care of, but that doesn't mean that nothing will come out of your pocket. That's concerning to me.
Yeah.
So always make sure that you have enough liability, a higher liability, especially if you're going to travel and rent a car somewhere.
Exactly.
Because then you have that flexibility of renting a little bit more fun one,
right?
If that's what you want to do.
You bet.
That's a big deal for people, especially if you've got a big family. You need to rent a bigger, SUV or something like that, and you may not have that kind of car at home.
Exactly.
That's people don't think about that.
Right, and that's why it's so important to have a relationship with your agent and be able to go over these things. Because we don't expect y'all to know all this, I'm not an accountant,
Yeah.
I don't
You're
know.
not?
No, so whenever I go to my CPA and meet with her, we go over everything and she gets me brushed up on it, and we know what, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's similar in this, you want to make sure you have what you need, and things change. Y'all may upgrade and get a bigger house. So you got more to protect now.
Yeah.
So you need to raise your liability. It's just different things that happen throughout the course of your life that you need to make changes to your insurance with.
Yeah.
And it's things you don't think about.
No, well, because we're not supposed to think about them.
Right.
That's what you're for.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have a question. What is gap insurance?
Good question.
I hear it all the time. I don't even know what it is.
So what gap insurance is, it's most of the time you buy it like when you first buy your car, you get it from the financer.
Yeah.
And what it is it covers the difference between what your car is worth, actually worth, versus what your loan is. Okay.
Oh,
so let's say you got a $60,000 loan to buy this car, and 3 years later it's not worth that anymore. And so if you total it out, your lien holder is going to want the value of the car, so that insurance is going to take care of the difference there,
Okay.
the gap.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So-
Ooh, that's good to know. Is that something that people just call you? Do they get
Well,
that through you?
They
or
don't get it
that's
through
through
me.
when you buy a car.
Yeah, they get it.
But
when they
make
buy
sure
the
you
car.
have it.
Yeah, I would. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd make sure. See, it's most of the time for brand new cars.
Yeah.
I think you can get it with used cars now.
Okay.
But it's definitely something I encourage you. And it's like I say, it's something you usually get when you're financing. So if you're going to buy a new car, ask them about it. And that's a very cheap coverage too.
Yeah.
It's not worth not getting.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's important to
Yeah.
know. I always wondered what gap insurance was, and I
Yeah.
I guess I'm just
It's the
people
difference.
doing
It's the gap. It's coverage for the gap between the actual cash value of what your car is actually worth versus the loan that you got for it.
Okay, that's a big deal. So
Mhm.
always make sure you get gap insurance.
Yeah, because if you don't get it, and you're responsible for that gap. So,
Yeah, exactly. And that wouldn't be fun.
Yeah.
Gaps are not fun.
And one thing I wanted to touch too, if you guys use your cars or trailers for anything business related, make sure you look into getting some commercial auto quotes for that,
Yeah.
or see if they have an endorsement on your personal that says that you sometimes use it for business.
Okay.
Because if you have a claim and you have a personal auto policy, but you have a lawn service, or you have a handyman service or
Yeah.
something, and you have a claim while you're pulling your trailer and all your equipment, and you got your magnets on the side of your
Yeah.
truck that say you're out doing your work, the carrier will pay the claim because they'll most likely pay the claim because they have to, but
Yeah.
they may set you up for non-renewal and make you get a business policy.
Oh wow.
Anyway. Yeah. So, or they might not pay the claim, just depending on what
Yeah.
carrier you're with.
Yeah.
So these are just things that we've seen, and I highly recommend that if you do any type of business at all with your vehicle and you're out on the road and all that stuff, and you have your company on the side of your car, or you're pulling a trailer full of material and stuff like that, you need to look into getting the commercial or business insurance.
Absolutely, which is how so many people do their business now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't have the luxury of buying a whole separate vehicle
right
fleet to do their business, and they'll put the sticker that their home vehicle in the morning on Monday through Friday becomes their work vehicle.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. You just make sure that you got your insurance.
Absolutely.
Right,
Okay, Braxton, this has been amazing and always so informative.
I try to keep it as light as possible. I know it can get a little monotonous, but
well, the good thing is that if somebody has any questions or you are not sure about how to find out if you have enough coverage or what you need, all you do is call Braxton Skipper at Skipper Insurance Advisors. The phone number is right here across the ticker, and they will help you anytime, and they'll answer your questions.
I will,
and try to help you understand what you need, and they're gonna take really good care of you and make sure that they give you the best deal for you with whatever you need. Okay, so Braxton, finish up the show. I want you to tell people exactly what do we need to be doing right now to make sure we have a couple of steps that we need to make sure we're checking on our coverage for our autos.
Sure, you bet. So if you have your declaration, your auto declaration pages, in your car or in a file or something at the house, pull them out and look at them, and make sure that you know what your liability limits are, what your deductibles are for comp and collision, and make sure that you have roadside assistance, and make sure you have rental car. And if you don't have any of those things, if you have questions of how much it would cost to add those things, call your agent or call me, and I'll give you quotes for it. It's auto insurance. Like I was saying earlier, it's the most shopped, it's the most competitive part of our industry by far, in my opinion, just because the auto policies renew every 6 months. It's always on your mind. You're always driving, it's just something it's really easy to make sure you got all these things covered. It's just
Absolutely.
a matter of calling and figuring and getting it verified. So just like what we've said on other segments, know before you go, make sure you know your coverages. And if you don't like them, you don't think they're enough, change them,
Exactly.
and your agent will make recommendations to you, and whether or not you take them up on it, it's on you guys. But we want you to be protected. We don't want you to run into any problems. We want you to be properly protected, and we want your families and your assets that you've worked all your lives to build to be safe. And that's what I do.
Absolutely. That's what he does. So call Braxton Skipper today. If you just need a quote, if you are looking to change agents, if you just want some help and need questions answered, give him a call. Great guy, great family. They will take very, very good care of you. Okay, Braxton, great show again.
Yes.
Yay!
I want to give a couple of shout outs before we go. I want to give a shout out to Kim and Bo Harding at Remax Synergy in League City. Anybody that's buying a house or looking at any type of real estate, give them a call, hit them up. They're Remax Synergy in League City. They're great people. I work very closely with them. They're wonderful. And then if anybody's looking at buying a house as well, or any lending needs or refinancing needs, call Brittany Harding at the Mortgage Tree in League City as well. They, like I say, I work very closely with the Hardings. They're wonderful people, and they will take great care of you. And I couldn't be happier to be working with them. So
absolutely. So good. Great people. And if you need a roof with all this house stuff, P3 Roofing are the people you need to call. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the Kelly Williams Show today. This has been a fantastic, another great show with Braxton Skipper of Skipper Insurance Advisors. You can see him every month right on the Kelly Williams Show.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, guys, we hope you have an awesome and blessed rest of your day. Watch the Kelly Williams Show right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And we'll see you soon. Call Skipper.
Call Skipper. Call Skipper Insurance Advisors. Come give me a call. Call Braxton.
Call Braxton. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank
have
you
a
for
good
having
day.
me on, Kelly.
Thanks, Braxton. Talk to you later.